Yesterday, Sayadaw described how when we go from standing up to sitting down, how effort occurs when we see what is really there, the nama and rupa, the mental and physical phenomena that are really there. There's stiffness, tension, heaviness, and the body goes down. There's a series of physical phenomena and a series of mental phenomena. Sayadaw described how effort occurs when one makes the effort to note right at the moment when this happens, and how sati occurs due to the effort, and how when sati is there, it sticks to the object and falls collectedly on the object. This is correct virya, sati, and samadhi. This is walking the path to nibbana when we note in this way. This is developing samatha kusala, the wholesome deed of concentration. Every second of the time, when we note like this, we are developing samatha bhavana kusala. We have to do the practice respectfully. We have to try to observe every single second, cherishing the practice. Otherwise, it amounts to negligence, pamada. Also, we can't just do it a little bit and then stop, note some more, then stop, note some more. We can't start and stop like this. Our observation should be applied every second of the time. If not, this amounts to negligence, pamada. And when one takes, so that means when our noting is not continuous. And then if we take breaks, also, this is not cherishing the practice. This is not respect for the practice. It's pamada. So one shouldn't take breaks during the practice. Otherwise, one will be like the lizard that is called a chameleon. The chameleon, when it sees his or her mate, or it sees something that it wants to eat, from a distance, it runs quickly, but just a little bit, and then it stops, and it looks here and there. And then it runs a little bit farther, and then it stops again. It never goes for what it wants all in one go. We shouldn't be like that. We should do our practice respectfully, carefully, steadily. We should go for it all at one go, not stop and start. If we do, then we will be doing the opposite of pamada, which is apamada, diligence. When we sit down, if we observe when we sit down, right at the moment, we see that there's a series of intentions, and there's a series of physical elements such as stiffness, tension, heaviness. This intention to sit down is nama, and the sitting down, the physical part of sitting down, is rupa, physicality. When we observe carefully, then we know clearly that there are just these two things in the process of sitting down. Initially, we don't know this, and thus we have doubt or wavering or lack of clarity about what is really there when sitting down happens. we think that there's a person who is sitting down. We think there's a man or a woman. And we also think there's a soul, this jiva atta, a soul that exists. But when we have careful continual observation with effort, mindfulness, concentration, virya, sati, and samadhi, and when we have accurate aim so that the mind connects directly with the object, we discern, we see clearly that nama, mentality, is one thing. Rupa, physicality, is another thing. There's no person, no being, no soul, no man, no woman. And only when one notes carefully and respectfully does one know this. One knows this for oneself. One knows this directly through one's practice, not due to reflecting about it. And this is one's own knowledge. It's said in Pali, nama rupa yatawa dasanam. This is seeing mind and matter as they really are. And if that's the case, then we won't make any mistake about what is there. We won't have any misperception about what is there. Thus we will have deti visuddhi, purity of view. And if so, then Dhamma samoha, confusion about the Dhamma, this great darkness, is dispelled. If we don't observe phenomena as they happen, then delusion, confusion occurs. And this is darkness. We don't know about the Dhamma. We're in the dark. But when we know what is really there, then light occurs. It becomes clear. There's no man, there's no woman, no soul, no person. This is clear perception of the Dhamma, Dhamma Vipassana Jnana. When this arises, darkness is dispelled. If the light of the right view of Kama, the light of the world, is not there, then there's the darkness called Kama Samoha. That is confusion about the law of karma. But when we understand that good begets good and bad begets bad, there is the right view of karma as our own property. Following that, when one observes the mind and body, mental and physical phenomena as they happen, one sees clearly, one knows, and one dispels great darkness. This is how darkness is dispelled. Those who don't know the method of Satipatthana and thus do not do it, the method which we are practicing now, such people have the view of that there's a person, that they're a person, that they may or may not have the view of soul, but there will be this view of a person who exists, who lives. This is Dhamma Samoha, confusion about the Dhamma. This Dhamma Samoha will always be there without the practice. There won't be any knowledge of Nama and Rupa, the mental and the physical. And some know the method of practice of Satipatthana, but they don't do it. Or they may know it, they may do it, but not respectfully. So now we have the chance to practice. But those who are without respect, when one sits down from standing up, or goes to standing from sitting, bending the arm or leg, stretching the arm or leg, going from sitting to lying, walking. Those actions, all the changes in posture and all the various acts that we do need to be done respectfully, steadily, with continuity, without taking a break. But yogis who don't practice with respect, they do these changes of posture suddenly. They suddenly stand up from the sitting, suddenly sit down, and so on. They make their movements suddenly, and when that happens, there's no way that they can observe what they're doing. They can't know the details. So because of that, they won't come to know nama and rupa, the mental and the physical. They won't be able to come to this knowledge. They will be able to get maybe a little bit of concentration, but not full strength. And if people continue in this way, then this darkness of delusion about the Dhamma will continue, Dhamma samoha. And thus one won't know the true nature of nama and rupa, mind and matter. But as now with the practice, making effort to observe the object with effort, mindfulness, samadhi, that is, developing bhavana, those who respect the practice, when they have the chance to practice, they do what they need to do carefully. When we're all in a group going to lunch, then we don't have the leisure to walk as slowly as we might like. We have to keep pace, and we have to. That's a time when we can't do what we want in our own time. We have to keep up. But everything else should be done with care and according to our own ability to stay mindful. So whatever we do, whatever action we should do, we need to do it slowly. And this is respect for the practice called sakacakirya. That's the first thing. Then we have to also work continuously. We have to try continuously to observe without taking a break. And if we do so, within a few days we will see clearly nama and rupa, the mental and physical. And thus, working respectfully, the darkness of confusion about the Dhamma will be dispelled. If while we practice this method of satipatthana, which can bring so much benefit to us, if we don't work respectfully or continually, if we take breaks, this is working carelessly, superficially. This is neglecting the responsibility of a yogi. And in that case, due to neglecting the duty, the mind won't be clean. Without a clean mind, we won't know nama and rupa, mind and matter. So we'll lose out on this first light of the teachings, the first light of sasana. Every second of careless work is a loss for us. So if we've come here in order to gain something, we shouldn't accept a loss. We should work to get a profit. And the first profit that we make out of our trip here is to see nama and rupa. So starting with the rising and the falling when we sit, we try to observe every single rising, every single falling, whatever object arises. We try to do this all the time. We try to do our work steadily. And if we do so, we'll get the results. If we don't, then it doesn't matter how long we practice, whether we practice a month or more. Nothing will develop. But with respect for the practice, careful application of one's observation, then one naturally develops this first light of sasana and dispels the darkness of confusion of the Dhamma naturally. So Sayadaw urges all of you to work respectfully, carefully, steadily, continually. And if you do so, it won't take long for knowledge to develop. If we want cleanliness of mind, we need to fulfill our mental energies. And one who doesn't slack in the practice can do this. Sayadaw talked some days ago about gross negligence and diligence on a gross level and on a medium level. So now we have to be careful not to let subtle negligence occur. What we're doing now is the highest type of work that we can do. It's kusala. We are developing a clean, faultless mind, and one has to give this priority. In Pali, this is called kusalanang dhammanang bhavanaya, developing wholesome dhammas, developing wholesome mental qualities. And in this regard, the Buddha described what it means to be negligent regarding these development of kusala. He said, kusalanang dhammanang bhavanaya asacha kiryata. So this is what negligence amounts to, not working respectfully when we're trying to do the practice. The mental and physical phenomena that occur in us, that occur within our being, are very subtle, very refined. If our physical actions are done quickly, the mind cannot keep up with the phenomena. If one stretches quickly, bends quickly, sits down from standing up, gets up from sitting down, quickly, the mind can't possibly keep up with the phenomena. So this is an area of work where things have to be done slowly in order to get benefit. Some types of work that we do must be done quickly if they're going to be beneficial. They won't, you can't do them slowly. But this is not such an area. So for example, Sayadaw mentioned before, if you're crossing a one plank bridge over a deep ravine, if you're looking down a long way as you go across this narrow bridge, you can't go quickly. You've got to go slowly. And if you're working in a hospital, then if you have a sick person, you need to move that person carefully. You can't just move them quickly and suddenly. The patient can die from being mishandled. So there are areas when we must move slowly in order to get benefit. Of course, in the types of things that have to be done quickly, we should do them quickly. Each thing in its own way. But this practice needs to be done slowly in order to get benefit. So every movement that we make, from standing up, going to sitting down, from sitting down to standing up, bending the arm, stretching the arm, opening and closing the eyes, blinking. Only if one moves slowly can the noting keep up with the phenomena. Otherwise, it can't. So when the yogis do not work slowly in this area where things need to be done slowly, this amounts to negligence, paṇḍitā. This is carelessness. And when we're careless, we miss a noting, and we lose out on bhavana kusala, the wholesome mind. We may get some good mind moments, but only here and there. On the other hand, if we go about slowly, the noting mind just lines up one after another to note the object. It has time to do that. If we don't move slowly, then there will be gaps in our noting. And this is carelessness, and samadhi has no chance to develop if we do this. The second type of apamada is natita kiryata. That means to be taking breaks. Sometimes yogis do this sitting, and then they get up, and then they talk to their friend. And then they take a drink, and then they go back and walk, sit down again. One can't take breaks like this. One has to do the meditation steadily, continuously. If we don't, it amounts to carelessly. It amounts to negligence. And like in life, if our work is neglected, we may get into trouble. So the benefits of this Dhamma. The first benefit that we get is purity of mind. If we don't have strong desire to get these benefits, if we don't kind of urge ourselves to work to get these benefits, or if we give up hope that we can do this, then this is neglecting our duty. We shouldn't do this. Now, in the world, and now that's one thing. And in another, it's also in this world, it is very important for us to master ourselves. If we can control ourselves, if we can really gain victory over ourselves, then we won't harm anyone else, and we will be truly human. This is our duty in the world, to be a true human being. This is a duty we can't give up. We can't put this duty down. So the work that we are doing brings about true humanity, and if we put this responsibility down, it amounts to negligence. And another type of carelessness is called anasevana. This means that the practice has to be done in a regular way, just the way we have to take medicine. According to the instructions, we have to take medicine so that one dose follows another after another. And when we take the full course of medicine regularly to completion, then the disease can be knocked out. If we don't take it regularly, if we skip a dose, or if we don't take it and then let the medicine get old, the medicine won't be effective and we won't get the desired result. And at that point we may change medicines, but if we don't use it regularly either, then it too will fail. So just like the patient can't be cured by failing to take the medicine properly, so too when the yogi doesn't practice regularly, they become chronic. So in the practice, the medicine, so to speak, is making the effort to observe every single arising object, starting with the rising and the falling. So we need to take this medicine on time, regularly. Every time an object arises, we need to apply ourselves to observe it. Another aspect of negligence is taking breaks. that means we just stop noting. That is also not something that we should do, bhavana. And this practice, the observation that we do, has to be done again and again. We have to do it many, many times. If we don't do this, then this is another form of negligence, abhuli kamma. And also, we need to apply the effort all the time. There are 3 levels of effort. We should be applying our effort all the time. And to not do this is a form of negligence. When we don't apply effort, it has no momentum. And this is called ananuyoga, not applying our effort so that it has momentum. So these are the ways in which pamada, or negligence, occurs on a subtle level. And its opposite is, if you look at the opposite of this, you'll see how diligence or apamada occurs. So Sayadaw says that yogis who started at the beginning of this retreat have already been here for 1 month. So we all should look at ourselves and ask, where am I lacking? Do I do my actions carefully or not? Am I applying myself full time every waking moment? Am I working without taking breaks? Do I have strong desire to get the benefits of the practice? Am I doing my duty or not? Am I taking the medicine regularly or not? Am I making one noting follow another and another as much as I can? Am I noting again and again or not? Is effort present? Are the 3 stages of effort present? So if we see something lacking, if we fill it up, if we address that lack, if we see what's needed and correct it in time, then we can progress. It's important in this also not to just go according to what one thinks. One should try to follow what is being said as much as possible. Don't just go with what you think is best. Really examine yourself carefully and listen to the instructions. Please be prepared to examine yourself and to try to fill up the gaps that may exist. And if you do this, you will get the benefit of having come here, of having left behind things, whatever it was, your family, your work. You will get the benefit of having made the sacrifice to come here. So Sayadaw urges all the yogis to do this examination. For the development of the highest type of good deed, the highest type of kusala, for our efforts to become firm and strong day by day, there are 9 factors that Sayadaw has mentioned. If they are present, if the factors for, they were first presented as factors of pamada, but their opposite, if their opposite is present, then there will be diligence. And if their opposite is, if the factors of negligence are present, then there will be negligence. It amounts to negligence. So we should ask ourselves, do we believe what was just said or not? So if we eliminate wherever we may be lacking, then, it's hard for me, I lost a lot here, sorry. If we can eliminate the factors of negligence, then it will be beneficial for us. So we should examine Do we believe that or not? Sayadaw has urged us to look at these factors in ourselves. So if by dispelling carelessness, the main thing is he wants to know if people believe what has been said. It's necessary to believe that it will be helpful to us to dispel the negligence and to develop this diligence in the practice. So first we have to understand that what it is that is negligence and what it is that is diligence. So these factors of being negligent, if they are there, do we believe that if we eliminate them, there will be carefulness? Okay, and if we do dispel carelessness, and if we believe that by dispelling carelessness we can develop diligence in the practice, do we have the desire to do this? So with this practice, only if one makes intensive effort according to the instructions will the mindfulness be good. The samadhi will be good, and starting with the discernment of nama and rupa, the lights of the sasana, the lights of the teaching will appear, and the darkness of not knowing these things will disappear. The darkness will be dispelled. So Sayadaw asks, do we believe this or not? So if we do, then we need to look at ourselves and see. We need to understand that Sayadaw is not urging us to do something that is impossible. He never asks yogis to do what is impossible. He's asking yogis to do what is really possible, and he's talking about what can really happen. And as he does so, he's urging the yogis in terms of theory and practice. So Sayadaw would like to urge the yogis very seriously that understanding the benefits of the practice, understanding the practice with strong desire to get the benefits, apply effort in the 3 stages, and doing so, you will make the sacrifice of having come here worthwhile. That's all for today. Sadhu, 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 sadhu.